All right, hi everybody. David Fogel back with you, CEO of the Symphonina Foundation, back with another Symphonina Foundation podcast. And it's good to be back. I missed a couple weeks, I think, with you as Alex Unseth was guest hosting for us. And we've been very busy preparing our Symphonina Stories New Horizons album, which is due to be out in less than a month, July 24. We can hardly wait. Double album, 8 composers, 8 symphoninas, Christopher Siu, Jordan Janosko, Alexander Unseth, Chris Prather, 5-time Grammy nominee David Arkenstone, Grammy nominee David Doss, yours truly, and Daniel Fisher to round it all out with performances from the London Philharmonic Orchestra, the London Symphony Orchestra, our favorite Budapest Scoring Orchestra, and our other favorite, International Symphonina Orchestra. How can it not be our favorite? It's our own orchestra. And I'm sure you're going to love it. But today I have the pleasure of being joined by composer Jason Nitsch. Jason, how are you?
Hey, David. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and congratulations on your nomination as one of the composers for the American Prize this year. I was going down the list. I saw you there. Like, wow, let's get him on the show. How you doing with that? You do a lot of you do
Thank you. Yeah.
You do a lot of chamber music, if I remember correctly, and that's one of the things that you've submitted recently that was recognized. The title, I can't even say it with a straight face. Just a Little Innocent Five Play, as you wrote. So tell us about that. We were listening to a little bit on the way in here.
Well, it's important to remember that it's innocent five play,
Yes.
so it's all in good fun.
Yes.
I had this idea. I wrote at the beginning of last year, 2025. I had this idea in my head that I was going to do a piece of or a series of number pieces. I don't know why. I thought that was a really good idea, that I would do a series of pieces, each one would be about a number. And I started with 5, just because I sort of had the idea. So yeah, it's a nice little short overture. It can be performed if you hit it exactly right in 5 minutes and 55 seconds. It's all in 5. The motive is 5 notes. Yeah, I really hit it on the head as often as I possibly could.
All right. So
but anyway,
I have to ask them before you go. Is this next number 6 or is it next number 4, or is it is that too simple? Next number is pi or something like that.
I haven't written any of them. I haven't done another one. I wrote this one and then I kind of got busy with other stuff and I haven't gone back to it. But I had been messing around with other titles because I thought if you're going to come out of the gate with Just a Little Innocent 5 play, the other titles have to be pretty good too.
Yes.
So yeah, I haven't done any more. We'll see what comes up. Maybe that'll be my next big project I tackle, is go back to my numbers project. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, time will tell. As you've gone in your career as a composer, I think you've been composing 25 years, 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, you've done a lot of things in film and media.
I started around the turn of the century.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. It reminds us how long ago that was, though, doesn't it? So yeah. Y2K was that long ago. Okay, anyway, so how did you get into composing to start?
Oh, gosh. I started fiddling around with things when I was in high school, and then when I got to college, my gateway drug into composing was I did a lot of arranging for people, and so I really started doing a lot of that, which was really great because I got to mess around with other people's ideas. I didn't have to have a really good idea. I just had to kind of manipulate somebody else's good idea. So it was really good. I got to learn a lot about orchestration and things like that away, and it just sort of morphed into writing my own things. I started conning my friends into letting me write something for a music hour or recitals or things like that. And I never quit. So here we are.
Did you take any formal training in arranging, or did you just do it by ear and how it came to you? What was your process?
I studied arranging. There was a gentleman that was doing a graduate degree when I was an undergrad he'd been the director of bands at the Naval Academy, and then he'd come back to school to go to the seminary, but he was also working with the bands and the marching band and things. Dr. Jay Smith. So I learned arranging from Jay, and he really mentored me for a couple of years. And then because I was working with him, I got a lot of things performed. I got to write a lot of things for the groups I was playing in, but then also groups that are around the university. So I got to hear a lot of it right away, which was really great. So they would not let me be a composition major because I did not play piano.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's not really a thing anymore. But I'm old enough. Yeah, they were really adamant about the fact that I could not play piano. I said, "Well, I'm a percussionist, so I can play marimba, I can play all the pitched keyboard instruments. I understand I can read all the clefs and all that." They didn't care. I couldn't play piano, so I couldn't be a composition major. So I wasn't. Yeah, and I wrote anyway. So
right, can't let the powers that be limit you that way, right?
No,
No, okay. So when did you? So help me out then. Did you get what was your degree in then? If you were pursuing a degree.
My both my undergrad and my master's degree are in music ed.
Okay, okay. And have you
Yeah,
done a lot of teaching then as well as the music production
I
and
did.
composing and arranging?
I did. I taught. I spent most of my time as a high school band director. I did that for 25 years.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we're all about spreading the joy of symphonic music to young people around the world. Young usually means younger than me, which is a lot of people. But as a high
yeah.
school person, high school band leader, you must have the it's not unique, but a golden opportunity to help open the door for all those young people to music generally and the band concept and hopefully the orchestral concept too. What was your experience like working with young people?
I mean, it was great. I mean, I loved it. I was really fortunate to work with some really great colleagues, all the different places where I taught and to teach in some really cool places. And there's no better, I think, job in the world than teaching, whether you're teaching music or whether you're teaching math or anything like that. I mean, it's so important to making sure that every next generation is ready for adulthood and citizenship and all the things that they need to do, including their careers. So I really loved it. And, I think my students really thought it was neat that, their teacher would come in with this thing that he wrote over the weekend and say, hey, let's play this. And they got to hear it for the first time. And then they later on got to see things that they had gotten to read for me, go out and get published or go out and get big performances and things like that. And so I thought that was very cool. And yeah, I loved every minute of it.
Did you find it easier to teach other percussionists in your career, or was it not easier to teach in your own specialty?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always thought like I had a harder time teaching my own instrument,
Hmm.
and I always felt like I had an easier time teaching everything else. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I had to go through the same process as a percussionist. I had to go through the same process to learn all the wind instruments so that I could teach them. So it was probably easier for me to go, well, I remember how I had to learn to play clarinet, so this is how I need to tell you. And I don't remember anything about learning to play percussion because I've just been doing it for so long. So much was just really natural to me.
In the percussionists, I know Chris Prather on our Symphonina team, Gary Gray, they're both great percussionists, and I'm always in awe of like somebody who can do all those my gosh, the first time
Yeah.
for our first album, I recorded a girl who's a college student at San Diego State, and then her name Lindsay Sacken came to me finally. Yeah. So we go to San Diego State's music room. They very generously let us record there, and she's got the timpani and the marimba and the slapsticks, which that's not too hard, but okay, she got the bass drum and vibraphone and everything, and I have different things for her to record, and she's just nailing everything. And I'm thinking, okay, each one of these things is its own thing. Each one of these
Yeah.
things, and you got to learn all these things. It's not like there are four main saxophones. Okay, they all are a little
Right.
different, but they still kind of play the same. And yes, they have their nuances and all that, but it's not the difference between going from a vibraphone to a timpani to
Yeah.
whatever. I don't or castanets. How do you do that? How do you excel at all these things that are quote unquote percussion yet they're so different?
I don't know. I mean, I certainly didn't think of it that way when I was doing it. But you're right. It is very complicated. Even individual instruments, there are so many ways that you can strike them, and with so many different kinds of
Yeah,
mallets or
yeah.
sticks, and in so many different, methods to get certain sounds. There really is an incredible amount of depth of knowledge you have to be a really good percussionist. I don't know how you do it. Years and years and years of practice, and then probably still more and more of that.
Yeah, I always say every instrument is hard. Some are harder than others, I think. But I mean, even I guess playing a triangle, I don't know how hard that is. You have to tell me. But there's a famous video of Bernstein and the triangle player, and they're not really getting along that well in that moment. But so there
Yeah,
must be different ways to play the triangle that I don't appreciate. But
for sure.
but yeah, I mean, every instrument is hard. It's hard to master them and get everything that you want out of them. But you, as a percussionist, I mean, there must be at least a dozen that you have to be competent to better than competent at when you advertise yourself as a percussionist.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's probably maybe 2 dozen
Yeah.
that I would probably think are kind of this is your standard foundational set of instruments you need to know and be pretty proficient at. And then from there it just branches off into infinity. Yeah, it's incredibly complex, but a really great percussionist or a really great percussion section in an ensemble is a thing of absolute beauty.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to ask you a little bit about one of your, I don't know if I would call it a diversion. It's not musical per se, but it's related. So you have an interest in science fiction. I don't know if you've scored any
Yeah.
science fiction movies or media. That'd be good. You have a podcast that's devoted to science fiction. So let's hear a little bit about what you do on your podcast as well. I think you have another podcast in music too. Happy to hear about that as well. But I want to see if your science fiction interests cross over with your musical interests.
Yeah, the podcast is Beyond the Belt: Adventures from the Outer Rim. We have 3 seasons released right now. The podcast came out of two things. It came out of, yeah, one, I've always just really loved science fiction. I grew up in, in the 80s and 90s, the golden era of like really great modern science fiction.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I realized at some point that J.J. Abrams was not going to call me to score his next movie. And so I thought I had this idea for an orchestra piece actually that I was working on, that I was envisioning as kind of like a mini sort of radio show, that there would be kind of a narrator, that there would be like some sound effects and some electronic kind of things. Maybe we would display some images. And so I would work on it from time to time, and I could never really get it to work. And finally, I was telling one of my friends about it, and she said, you should really turn this into a podcast. And I said, I don't know what you mean. I didn't listen to podcasts. I wasn't a podcast listener. My idea of podcasts at the time was, I thought that's where people got on. They talked about like murders that had happened and things, and they did like, like that's all I really knew. I didn't know
Yeah.
all of the stuff that was out there. So
Yeah.
I went on a podcast deep dive and discovered all the amazing podcasts that are out there. The interview shows like this one, and a lot of really great narrative, drama shows and things like that people are doing. So I wrote I turned it into like a single episode, a pilot episode, if you will. Um, and I wrote it. I wrote all of turned the story kind of into a dialogue with different characters. I got people to record all the different, dialogue for me. I edited together. I wrote the score for it. I spent way too long writing the 60-second main theme because I thought the main theme's got to be epic. You're a composer. The main theme's got to be amazing. And that was it. I put that out. I played it for a couple of people, like, yeah, this is really cool. And so then I wrote the rest of the first season, what ended up being season one, eight total episodes. And yeah, three seasons in, things are still rolling. So
Must be a lot of fun for you.
it is a lot of fun because I tell you, it really does combine two things that I love more than anything. I really love science fiction just as a genre, and it's an endless amounts of storytelling opportunities. I obviously I really love composing and kind of living in that world. So to be able to sort of put something together and combine all of those things has been really very cool. And of course, when you're doing that kind of a writing as opposed to writing for live, ensembles or live musicians, it's a different kind of writing. It's a different kind of editing and mixing and production. And so I had to learn a lot of things along the way, which is also a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you do any video to accompany your podcast episodes, anything like that, or multimedia?
No, I don't. At one time, I had thought maybe I would do something like maybe have like storyboards,
Hmm.
and do a video that went along, but it became one of those things that was, well, it's one step too much.
Sure. Sure. I think it'd be
It's
great though.
already
Yeah.
it would be great, and maybe I'll go back to that sometime. But each season itself is about 3.5 hours worth of music.
Okay.
So it's each episode is about 20 minutes. By the time you put the intros and the outros on, it's maybe 20 or 20, 21, 22 minutes. So it's a good amount of music per season. And so usually by the time I finish writing all of that and editing it all together and have it set to release, I want to be away from it for a while.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, there's so many new tools now for creating videos, and
Yeah,
of course, we don't want to be, I don't want to be anyway, promoting AI tools at the expense of human artists personally.
sure.
But if a human artist wants to employ whatever tools they want to employ, that's on them. So
Yeah.
I think if we think about keeping the creative spirit going with humanity, we have new tools, and I think it becomes easier and easier to create those video images that maybe can support the other storytelling that you're doing. So I want to encourage you to explore that further. Tell us about your music podcast too.
Yeah. So my other podcast is called Composer Chats.
Okay.
Really, I spend about an hour, and I have other composers join me, and we talk about kind of their origin stories, how they got into music, how they got into writing.
Hmm.
Sometimes we talk about, their creative process or things that they've got going on. Sometimes we talk about absolutely silly, frivolous things, and that's okay too. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. We just over the summer, earlier this summer, passed our 100th episode. So
Congratulations. Great.
yeah, thank you. So that's going really well, and I've really enjoyed getting to spend time with composers that I've known for a long time and chat with them. But the number of people that I've met along the way, people have been recommended to me, and that I've reached out to and that have come on the show, people that I didn't know before. That's also been really wonderful getting to know them, getting to know their music.
Yeah. Do you do that with composers across all genres, or do you focus on anything specifically?
Yeah, well, I kind of in season one started with everybody I knew.
Okay. That's
Because I because
friends
I
and
thought if
family
you're
come
gonna
first, right? That's fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're going to come on a show that doesn't exist, if I'm going to get you on, hey, I've got 4 listeners. I've released 2 episodes. I got to start with people that I know. So it was a lot of instrumental composers the first season, a lot of band composers the first season. But
Hmm.
I try to really go out of my way as the episodes have clicked on to expand and get more and more people that are outside the circle, my circle. So yeah, we have all kinds of people on. We have people that write opera and people that write for film and TV, and I'm working really hard to try to get some musical guests on because I'm a big fan of musical theater. So I'm trying to work on that, but they're busy in a different way than the rest of us are mostly. So yeah, I try to have a good cross section of people.
And would you say your audience are established artists, composers, anything for younger people, anything for older people, or is it not really with
Yeah.
respect to that?
Yeah, I think there's something there for a lot of different groups. I think for conductors,
Hmm.
and people that may be programming some of this music, I think it's really informative because you get a little bit kind of a deeper peek into some of the writers and kind of what they're about, and I think that's always really informative. I think young composers listen to it because there's a lot of good information there about how people work through their creative process and problems and writer's block and dealing with commissions and collaborations and things like that. And then I think young people who may be playing some of this music, especially some people who may write for younger ages. I think that's really cool too. I have this piece I'm playing. I can hear this person talk about, their life and how they got into music. And, maybe that's something I can go and do, when I'm ready to go to college. Maybe I should be a music major. Maybe I should look at composing. This person did it too. I heard them talk about their journey from playing in band one day or playing in orchestra one day. And then all of a sudden, they're going to school to study composing. I think that's really good to hear, somebody talk about that.
It is. It's always great to be able to identify someone that you can identify with as you're going through your journey and say, project, hopefully, if they can make it, you can make it, and what challenges they've overcome. And try not to make the same mistakes they've made. Try to make new ones, something
Make
like
all new ones. Yeah.
make new ones. It's always better to do that than to repeat your own mistakes or anybody else's if you can avoid them. What do you have going on for the rest of this year in 2027? You have big plans coming up?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a weird sort of lull between projects. I
Okay.
finished probably what I would say is a good like 6 years of near constant deadlines, sort of a panicked
Yes, right.
panicked composing for a lot of times. I just did a lot of big projects in a row. So I guess comparative to what I've been doing, I feel like I don't have as much to do. I probably have just reverted to a normal amount of workload.
Hmm.
So I'm working on a viola concerto right now, which is very cool. I'm starting to really love these collaborations with musicians, with vocalists, things like that. I just released another big orchestral recording earlier this year, a new symphony orchestra piece called American Dissonance.
Okay.
That's actually, I say I released it. It's going to release on the 4th of July here in just a couple of weeks.
Okay. Coming right up.
So it'll be available everywhere. So I have that. I'm in pre-production on season 4 of my Beyond the Belt Adventures from the Outer Rim podcast. So
Hmm.
hope to get the next season of that rolling and out the door here in the next 6 or 8 months. So yeah, there's always a lot going on.
It's good. Sound well. You have a lot of opportunities for people to collaborate with you, and if people want to get in touch with you, Jason, what's the best way to do that?
You can visit my website. That's probably the easiest central way. It's jasonnitsch.com. It's Nitsch. So I don't know why that S is there, but it is, so we keep it. And you can find me on the socials, Instagram and Threads at jasonnitsch.composer. You can find me pretty easily on there. If you want to find me on Facebook, if you're of my age and you're still Facebooking, you can find me at Jason K. Nitsch.
Right.
The K is important. If you friend Jason Nitsch, that's my cousin, who's a very, very talented photographer, but that's not me.
But not you.
Yeah, we get some messages sometimes.
Hopefully,
so we have
he would
time
refer the person to you.
Yeah, well, and what's strange about other Jason Nitsch, cousin Jason, is that he was also a percussionist.
Oh, okay.
And we both grew up in Texas. We both currently live in Texas. So yeah, sometimes there's sometimes we cross the streams, as it were.
That's very, very good. Well, okay. If people want to reach out, they know how to do it. We're going to wish you the best of luck with your nomination for the American Prize in Composition. Just a little Innocent Five play. We're going to listen to some more of that great music on the way out. And Jason, if there's anything we can do to be of help to you at the Symphonina Foundation anytime, just let us know.
David, thanks so much. I appreciate it.